All right, so Race has fantastic question. Make sure it's actually recording because I made this once and forgot to push the record button. Race has a great question, and reading down through the comments, the worst part about the internet is there's a lot of good information there, but there's a lot of sarcasm, and ultimately, I don't really think that the answer has been, Race, it sounds to me like you're a new bowler, and you also sound like the kind of guy who you want to know what's going on. You want to know what your ball's doing, why it's doing it, and that kind of thing. So that's great. Learning this game, understanding this game has changed tremendously in 20 years. And so the fact that you want to know is really cool. So first and foremost, you asked about pin location on a bowling ball. This is a Supra made by Motive, and it's an older bowling ball. This ball's probably 8 years old, 7 years old. But if you look at the pin, ooh, look at that. It is almost in the exact same location as what you said you had on your ball. So I'm going to tell you exactly what this means on your bowling ball and why it's important. You had several people in your comment section ask or tell you that it only matters where the PAP is. Okay, PAP, it's going to be on the screen. Positive access point. Now, your positive access point, basically how you find that, and since you're a new bowler with a new ball, you're not going to know that, but you can find it. And I'll tell you how you find it. You throw the ball, and typically what I do is take a ball and you sand the crap out of it. You get it down to like 500 grit, and you throw it. And it doesn't matter how much it flares, it's only the first ring that matters. So with me, when I throw the ball, my first ring is going to be somewhere in this area right here, okay? So you take that first ring, and there's a device called an armadillo. Now, some people call it all kinds of things. I've always called it armadillo. I'll put a picture so you can see it. Put that on the ball, and it fits on the ball. And what it does is it locates the radius of your ball, of its first ring of traction on the lane. So it's going to hit the lane. It's going to put a ring on the ball, and it's going to flare. We'll talk about flare in a minute, but then you take that first ring and you measure out to where your positive axis point is. What that is basically the axis of your ball on your first revolution. Now that's going to change as the ball rolls down the lane, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so my positive axis point, okay, and you'll hear numbers, okay? Mine is 4 3/4 by 5/16. Okay, so 4 3/4 by 5/16. How you find that is, this is the center line of your bowling ball, okay? Your center of grip is here, and then my center of grip is right about there, okay? You take that, and then you draw a line out to the radius, of basically directly perpendicular to your center of grip, okay? All the way out. And then you find where your positive axis point was located using the armadillo, and you measure up or down. Mine is probably about there on the ball, okay? So my positive axis point is right there. Basically all that means, again, that is where the ball is rotating the first time it hits the lane. For about 3 revolutions, that's where it's gonna be. Then the ball is gonna flare. Now, the reason it flares, and again, let's remember, this is my positive axis point. Your pin, okay? Your pin, what it identifies the top of the weight block. So basically, my weight block on this ball, if I sit this ball just like this, pin straight up and down, the weight block is right here. Okay, so you can see with the finger holes and the thumb hole that the way that I throw the ball, the thumb hole and the finger holes, everything's off to this side. Okay, now if I'm holding it when I'm bowling, it's going to be on this side. The pin is over here. Okay, what that does is if you take that first track as you throw the ball, you have that line on your ball from the oil, that first track here and your pin, okay? There's a distance between here. And I don't remember what the distance is. I'll put it on the screen. But halfway between that is the maximum amount of flare you're gonna get out of a bowling ball. It's not gonna flare any more than halfway between that line. So let's just say I think it's 6 3/4 inches. 3.5 inches from your PAP is a maximum amount of flare you're gonna get out of that bowling ball. Okay, so if you move the pin closer to your positive axis point, you are creating a much more stable bowling ball. By stable, what I mean is as soon as you throw the ball, it's almost right on the axis point, the top of the weight block, so it's just spinning on itself. If you move this pin further, closer to the top of your fingers or closer to where your track is, instead of it being out here and being stable and just rolling on itself, now it's out here and it wants to tumble. The ball's now it's tumbling as it's going down the lane. So it's moving towards the pins. Now that helps, that's a good thing. For a different lesson, different time, that's a good thing. But ultimately, 3.5 inches-ish from your, or 4 inches from your pin is about as much flare as you're gonna get out of that bowling ball. And the closer you get it to your track, again, flare goes away as it goes this way, okay? So let's say this is the middle. The closer you get either to your pin or to your track, the less flare you're going to create out of that ball. So let's get back to your question. Your question was, what will this do for you? I can't tell you, but what I can tell you is there is somebody in your area, a pro shop operator, who would love to spend 10 minutes with you and explain to you exactly what your ball's doing and why. So I don't know who drilled your bowling ball. He might be a very reputable professional. I don't know. No idea. And I'm not going to make any judgments. But what I will tell you is go to your league. If you're not bowling league, then really buying a high performance bowling ball is kind of dumb. But go to your league if you're bowling in a league and find somebody who averages between 220 and 230 who has good equipment, fairly new equipment, and ask them where they get their bowling ball drilled. Ask several people. Get a consensus, and you'll find out really quickly who the reputable person is in your area. Go to that person and just say, hey, look, I bought this ball, and I really want to know what this ball is going to do for me. And what they'll do, they'll watch you throw the ball 3 or 4 times. They'll figure out where your positive access point is, and then they'll tell you. And then, maybe not for this ball, because you may have to change your surface. And we'll talk about surface in just a second, because I don't want to make this a 20-minute video. But what they'll tell you is what that layout will do for you, specific to the way that you throw the ball, and what you need to do to the surface to make it better or worse. Now that ball, I heard somebody say that that's the wrong ball for you, or it's a bad ball, bad ball choice. There's no way to know that, even if it's your first ball, until you throw the ball a few times and determine that. I don't think I have ever. I've bought, in the last 2 years, I've bought 8 balls, 7 balls, and I use all of them. There's not a bad ball in the bunch. I've had to alter surface a little bit on several of them to get them to work the way that I need them to, but there's not a bad ball in the bunch. And I don't think that ball is necessarily a bad ball for you. You may just have to do some changing to the surface to get it right for you. But find that local pro shop operator and then go to them, show them the ball. They'll watch your ball. They'll tell you what that ball will do for you and whether it's good or bad. Generally speaking, completely generally speaking, this layout for me, and if you look back on the old Storm spec sheets that they used to send out, is a fairly, it's not long, it's a moderately long and flippy reaction. So it's going to get through the heads clean, and it's going to want to, turn at the back end. Some people say off the spot. It's going to want to go long, and it's going to want to hook late and hook a little bit more abruptly. I can take this ball, put a little surface on it, and smooth that out, and it's a really, really nice piece. But as far as what your ball, the one that you showed, is going to do, the way it's laid out for you, I can't tell you that. You're going to have to find a pro shop operator and ask them, and they'd be happy to tell you. I know if you were in my area and you came and asked me, I could sit down with you in about 10 minutes and we could figure out what that ball will do for you, what you need to do to the surface to make it right, and what ball would be a better choice for you. So anyway, next time, and this is for anybody else out here, if you're watching this video and you're getting ready to go buy a bowling ball, like this guy, Bryce, he bought it's his first ball. If you're going to go buy a bowling ball, before you buy that ball and spend $250 on a ball, ask the pro shop operator, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, and this with that ball. I'm a recreational bowler that bowls once a week, maybe one league a week, and I average 160. You don't need a $250 bowling ball. You just don't. And a good pro shop operator will not sell you a $250 bowling ball. They will sell you what you what's going to fit what you're trying to do. And so, yeah, and that's my advice. So good luck to you. I hope you have good success with that ball. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out at Jim Dickinson Bowling. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the next one.